Boom, boom, boom. What's up, everybody? We are live. It is another day, another dollar, or lack of dollars on those margins.
Bring up that tweet, man. I wasn't kidding.
You were acting like I'm a Tesla bear or something. I was like, the margins suck. Yeah, they suck.
No. But words matter. Words matter. So you said the margins sucked, right?
Yes, anyone can say the margins suck without being a bear on Tesla.
No, I'm not saying you're a bear. I'm not accusing you, but I'm asking you compared to what?
That's true. Well, margins suck in comparison to where their CFO or COO whatever said they wouldn't go sub 20, and then they went sub 20. That's why it sucks, right? That's why the stock is down.
But if you listen carefully to what they said, what's up, Chris?
Hey, what's up, guys?
If you listen carefully to what they said, when they say we're going to grow 50% year over year or whatever it is, they didn't say every single quarter. They said, like, if you look at it over an extended period of time, 3 to 5 years. Damn.
Wait, what fell? I literally went on Twitter right when that happened. Damn.
That was his Palantir stock.
Yeah, no, it was my cup of water. Was the first time today I didn't put like the lid on it, and now I have like drink everywhere. So
wow, it actually spilled. Damn.
Yeah, I'll be right back, guys.
That blows.
All right, we'll get you there.
All right, what were we saying?
All right, well, look, welcome to the show. 64 people. Thank you for being here. We're doing a Tesla earnings recap. Vitaly can't come because he hates Tesla. No, he's just working late, so it's gonna be us three. Yeah, let's start the discussion, man. Carlos, what are your raw thoughts on this? Obviously, margins are sub 20. That's why the stock is down. I think it's at 169. Yeah. Raw thoughts on earnings and everything else. And yes, Junkies, this is a YouTube short for sure. And Zion, shout out to Sarah. She bought her first shares of Tesla today.
Nice. That was and she got a good entry point. Actually, before we do, there was someone who made a comment before we went on that I wanted to address. Someone was like, KXs, in all honesty, talking about Tesla again and again is a bit monotonous. Yes, but what's happening with Tesla is such a microcosm of what happens with a bunch of different stocks. And so even if it's just Tesla, there's so many things that happens with this company on a daily basis.
That is why people are making a full-time living, good money covering Tesla on the internet, because there's just more and more to talk about.
There's so much news. I mean, even like at the buzzer today when we were texting, it was like, oh, now they're suing Microsoft. Like, what? It's just every day there's something new. So I think the discussion about it and how those things frame your thesis about companies it's a good exercise, right? Because we go through this with Palantir, we talk about this with Enphase and stuff, and so. Yes, we're talking about Tesla, but we'd like to think that this is adding value in terms of how you manage your own, your own investing, right? So
so margins, did they actually suck, or is that? Well, actually, no. Let me pull up this 4-minute clip of Gordon Johnson and Gary Black talking. I think seen it. This will be great. It'll give Chris some time to not drop his water, and then we'll get into this. So let me pull this up for those who haven't seen it. I think this will be really interesting. And we'll go from there. Where is it? Oh, should be here. All right. Here we go. 4 minutes. Let's play this out. We're going to take a look at this. Thank you, 120 people, for being here. And then we'll be back at the bottom of this.
This feels like classic Musk right here. I can make money selling my cars. You're losing billions selling your cars. I'm just going to grab market share. But that's very different than the stock price. Is it not? The market and the stock market are different things, I think.
Well, the investors didn't like the gross margin number. And, when you look at a sub 20 gross margin and the street was looking for 21, and to Phil's point, you didn't get much confidence that going out the rest of the year, you were going to have any improvement in the margin. And as you pointed out, they're going for market share. That's why the stock is going down. And I think, we've got to get some clarity about how low is the gross margin going to be, because we've already seen 2 new price cuts since the end of the first quarter. You saw a price cut in China. You saw a price cut last night in the US. It was worth about $1 billion. And so when you factor that in, you're probably at 16, 17% gross margins, which means analysts are going to take their estimates down again. And that's what's driving the stock price down after hours.
I kind of feel like, Gordon, it's like the iPhone model, because kind of when you're in the Tesla halo, I'm not saying you're stuck there, but you kind of get in that cult of Tesla with the superchargers and everything else. And do you think there's part of this? Musk is saying, you know what? Like I said, nobody else can make money selling EVs. We're being forced to try to move to money-losing vehicles for Detroit, which, by the way, Detroit's in big trouble on that potentially. But what do you think Musk's strategy is?
Listen, I don't think he's cutting prices to make the cars more affordable. You're talking about a company whose backlog peaked in January, a company who for the past 4 quarters, a record straight 4 quarters, has produced more cars than they've sold. A company who, despite massive inventory exiting Q1, just engaged in massive price cuts. Listen, this is a company valued for hyper growth. If you take their Q1 earnings, GAAP earnings of 72 cents, annualize that, that's $2.88. This is a company trading at 62 times earnings, whereas the industry trades at 7 times. Let me give you some stats. In Q1, their GAAP EPS was down 32% quarter over quarter, 24% year over year. Their operating income was down 32% quarter over quarter, 26% year over year. This is a company that is no longer growing. On the last earnings call, the CFO said our automotive gross margins ex credits will never go below 20%. On this call, he wouldn't even answer the question. This is a company that's being destroyed, in our view, by the competition. They've reached peak demand. What
do you mean, Gordon? They
can't sell, and they're being
what do you mean destroyed by the competition? GMC,
crazy.
Let me explain
General
that.
Motors sold 2 electric Hummers last quarter. 2. There's a bunch of 400 and 500 mile F-150 Lightnings up for sale on cars.com. I can only believe because people are returning them. What do you mean destroyed by the market? Who's winning?
Yeah. So let me explain. So their market share in China has dropped from a peak of roughly 35% to roughly 10%. Their market share in Europe has went from a peak of 40% to roughly 10%. Their market share in the U.S. went from a peak of 80% to now roughly 50%. It's not GM that's hitting them in the U.S. It's the Bolt. It's Ford. It's the VW. And GM is now coming with a plethora of models that have equal or better real-world range, better interior, and superior service. And when we've seen what happens when the competition comes in is Tesla sees significant market share. One other thing you got to keep in mind, the street was expecting $3.2 billion in free cash flow. They did $441 million. And when you take out the $521 million of regulatory credits, their free cash flow was negative $80 million. The first time we've seen this since Q1 of 20 in the depths of COVID and 2019 when Elon Musk said they had bankruptcy problems.
But you know what?
There may be even a capital raise coming
on
here
Twitter
soon.
and LinkedIn, I posted the other day all the cars that are eligible for the full $7,500 tax credit, Gary. There's not many. Many of them are spectacularly expensive, but Tesla had 2. I mean, it feels to me like the White House has given Elon Musk a gigantic gift by having 2 cars on that tax credit list.
Look, it's huge. And where Gordon's wrong is Tesla is winning.
Everywhere.
Tesla had 36% volume growth in the first quarter. There's no other company, and the highest margins in the industry. There's no other company that could do that.
It's so painful to watch that guy.
What is your core response to everything Gordon said? So start off with Carlos.
I think what he does is he takes certain parameters, certain metrics, and spins them to fit a narrative that he wants. I mean, just even right in the center, they produce more cars than they sold. Most car companies will produce more cars than they sell because it takes time, say at the end of the quarter, to deliver, especially if the cars are, if you're making them in China and you're shipping them somewhere else in the world. So you're not going to sell every single car the exact day. It takes time to get it to the customers. Market share can decrease. If they're the only ones selling EVs, right, then they're going to have 100%. Anyone sells one more EV, they can no longer have 100%. But what the better metric is how many units are they shipping, and what are the margins, and what's the profit. So it's incredibly frustrating to watch because he says things that sound correct, but it's not the entire story. And it's really frustrating to watch. But I just tell myself he is part of the reason why we can get these artificially low prices. And I'm just going to keep buying the stock because there's going to be a point where the numbers are undeniable. And that's when I think it'll be too late, right? You don't want to, all these people that are say would be listening to him, they'll be piling in their money on top of mine at a later date.
Yeah, I think unfortunately his core thesis has made him popular among the Tesla haters, and so his relevancy is based on his level of hate for Tesla. Yeah. Which, I mean, it happens, right? Like sometimes people would say to me, like, "Oh, Chris, you're a Palantir hater, and that's why you only make content around hating Palantir." And I'm like, no, I try to bring up objectivity, but whenever there's a positive, I bring up positives. This guy just seems to just have it in for the company, and that's it. Like there's never anything that's going right for them. And so even when he does his fair value adjustments, it's like he's just, like I said, if you want to see someone who's truly biased, that's a person who's truly biased. And when you get thesis bias, it's never a good thing. In terms of like where Tesla is, you have to remember, and this is the one thing I really hope people understand. You have to play to the market that you're in. I'm glad that Elon brought it up, and this is something that I brought up yesterday too. It is a much more difficult proposition for the average consumer to buy a car, because most people are going to be financing cars. So the value proposition to buy a car at a much higher price at a much higher interest rate means that you're going to see demand destruction. So what do you have to do? You have to lower the prices of the cars in order to make sure that you're actually fulfilling that demand. There are a ton of people on the sidelines that said, man, if Tesla was $35,000, I would buy it. Guess what? There people are coming in and they're able to do it. The other thing that he completely missed was the commodity costs, which have been plaguing everyone in the industry, are coming down significantly. So you have the lithium prices, aluminum prices, all the input costs are going down materially. And so right now, if Elon, and this is probably one of the reasons why, I mean, even though he wasn't very generous about speaking about it, about the refinery for lithium is actually, like he said, it's very common everywhere. It's the refining and transportation costs that add to the lithium problem. So by building out this refinery right next to their gigafactory, I think that just makes their operation even more streamlined. So I think you're going to see margin improvement, but it's going to be later in the year and a couple of years. I mean, there's other businesses that are much higher margin that once you factor those in. So if you have a short-term vision of Tesla, yeah, this was a bad quarter. That's undeniable, because the expectations were set.
But why? Why was it a bad quarter?
I completely disagree that it was a bad quarter. Did you listen to the call?
No. I'm saying no. Okay, let me rephrase. It wasn't a bad quarter in terms of like actual numbers. It was a bad quarter because everyone's expectations were too elevated for them, right? So when you have elevated expectations, you're going to have this knee-jerk reaction when people don't live up to that expectation. Like if you think that your kid is always gonna get like 100% on all his tests, the one day he comes back when he gets like let's say a 90 or 80, that doesn't mean your kid is stupid and he needs to go to remedial school.
I don't think the expectations were elevated, because they said last quarter they wouldn't get below 20%. They expected 20%, right? That was the expectation.
Right, but I'm sure that there wasn't exactly too many other factors that got put in during that time that they were accounting for. Like you look at the rate of inflation, where it is right now, like that's one of the things that Elon kept saying on the call. Like, if you have a crystal ball, I'd like it, please, because you can give guidance, but you can't always live up to that guidance because no one has that kind of a crystal ball.
Even in politics, when you're polling, there's a margin of error of plus or minus 2, plus or minus 4. I think that the Bears were harping on that number, hoping that it was going to be even a 0.1 underneath it, so that they can, so again, like Chris was saying, confirm the thesis and then just and start shitting on the company. But the problem is a lot of these consensus are being, the consensus that Wall Street has are being made by analysts that don't actually fully understand the company. I think this is one of those companies where the retail investor really understands the company better than some of the institutions. Even Gary Black. I mean, I get in with him on Twitter sometimes. This whole thing with advertising, or someone like Emmett Peppers. It's like retail investors understand the company better. And if they're the ones that are making the expectations, I don't consider that a good metric. Right? I don't consider that the metric or the standard. But the problem is, if we as retail investors want those massive returns, we have to understand that it's imperative that that institutional money comes in. And so you have to strategize against that as well, because there's no way to get to the valuations that we want without these people's money.
It's kind of cool that like some of the stuff that we were talking about yesterday was the exact things that freaking got brought up during the call. I was like,
Can we play a little bit? Can we play a little bit? That thing I sent you. That thing
the Amazon thing. That was awesome. That was awesome.
Yeah, in the WhatsApp, right?
Yeah, it was the link that I sent you. I queued it up. It was Rob Maurer. It was when he's talking about Dojo.
Okay. Let me pull it up right now.
How many people in the chat, just by like a show of hands or whatever, listen to the call? If you listen to the call.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The other
chat if you've heard.
The other thing is, if you look at Gordon Johnson, he keeps valuing this thing like a traditional auto manufacturer. That's where he keeps getting screwed over with his valuation. He keeps saying, look at the valuation of GM. It's like X, Y, and Z. So Tesla should be closer to that. And it's like, yeah,
But
no,
here's
that's not how it
here's the
works.
problem with it. Yes, he's valuing it. So, but as soon as you hear him say that, you automatically know that his entire thesis is just fundamentally wrong. It's based on something that's incorrect. The other problem that I have with that is if that is the case, right? If Tesla is just an auto company, then the same standard needs to be applied to companies like GM and Ford. But he's saying that they're winning.
Yeah,
You know, like look at what are their margins on their vehicles? I mean, there was a great someone posted it today. I'll see if I can bring it up. A great chart that showed like profit margins, like a visual infograph, and it's ridiculous. The Tesla making $9,000 or something on a car, and all the other companies are making say $100,000, $1,000, and some of them are even underwater. How do you not hold their feet to the fire for that? You know,
I think they do. That's why their valuations are so low. If you think about like the valuation of Ford, I think their PE is like 7 or 8. GM is something similar. So it's not like a lot of people are valuing them that much higher than what you would normally expect. So I think what it is everyone's, and this is the core mistake that I made a long time ago when it came to Tesla, until I really did more of a deep dive into them, right? I thought this is just another car company. Like anyone at the surface level, when they look at Tesla, they're going to think it's a car company because their main product is cars. Anyone that saw Amazon in 1999 and 2000, they saw an e-retailer, which there were thousands of people selling shit online. Like you go to back in the day, I don't know if you remember this, Carlos, you could buy shit on Yahoo. Remember Yahoo had all these web pages where people went shopping and you could buy stuff.
I remember
on there.
back in the day, the AOL days, they had like the shop, the market, or Prodigy. I don't know if you guys go back.
I remember Prodigy.
That crap.
Yeah. So
we're buying laser discs on Prodigy. Like that's how old I am. Literally buying laser discs.
So people were valuing it based on that kind of logic. So I think what it is when you have a CEO that's able to capitalize on side projects and actually build them into independent businesses, that's a truly remarkable thing. And I think that's what's going to happen with Tesla. So what we saw with Amazon, where you had Amazon start to develop as a bookstore, they eventually branched out into other things. That is the exact thing that we were talking about yesterday. So go ahead, play that clip.
And Dojo also has the potential to become a sellable service that we would offer to other companies in the same way that Amazon Web Services, offers web services, even though it started out as a bookstore. So I really think that the Dojo potential is very significant. In conclusion, we're taking a view that we want to keep making and selling as many cars as we can, despite this being an uncertain macro environment. This is a good time to increase our lead further, and we'll continue to invest in growth as fast as possible. Once again, I'd like to give a huge thanks to all Tesla employees.
I think if you go back a little further, he talks specifically about margins. He addressed margins. They could have hit 20-22% if they wanted to. And he said,
you want to hear the full opening remarks?
Yeah, if you want to hear the whole remark, it's super. Put it at like 1.25 speed or something like that.
All right.
But wait, before you do, just to set it up, he is telling you exactly what his plans are. And he's been saying this for years. He had, a master plan. He's written this thing out. He is a CEO that is incredibly transparent with the investors and the investment community with what he wants to do. I'm surprised that when a company is this straightforward about what they want to do and what the metrics are that you can judge whether or not they're hitting those things, I'm surprised that there is still so much confusion. I have to believe that it's on purpose because there's almost no one more clear about what he wants to do with the company. So listen to this. Everything that Gordon just said is addressed in what he's about to say.
I think I'm telling anyone anything people already know, especially with large purchases such as cars. And while we reduced prices considerably in early Q1, it's worth noting that our operating margin remains among the best in the industry. We've taken a view that pushing for higher volumes and a larger fleet is the right choice here versus a lower volume and higher margin. However, we expect our vehicles over time will be able to generate significant profit through autonomy. So we do believe we're like laying the groundwork here, and then it's better to ship a large number of cars at a lower margin and subsequently harvest that margin in the future as we perfect autonomy. This is an extremely important point. Let's see. Regarding the Cybertruck, we continue to build alpha versions of the Cybertruck on our pilot line for testing purposes. It's a great product, and we're completing the installation of the volume production line at Giga Texas, and we're anticipating having a delivery event, a great delivery event, probably in Q3. As with all new products, it'll follow an S curve of so production starts out slow and then accelerates. So the Cybertruck is no different. So it's there's tremendous amount of demand for the product. Obviously, it is, in my view, a fantastic product, a Hall of Famer. But as with all new products, it takes time to get the manufacturing line going, and this is really a very radical product. It's not made in the way that other cars are made. So let's see. With regard to Megapack, we're making great progress. Our energy storage deployment reached nearly 4 gigawatt hours in Q1. It's by far the strongest quarter ever, and this growth was achieved thanks to the ongoing ramp at our Megafactory in Lathrop, California. There's still some way to go to reach the full run rate of 40 gigawatt hours per year. And then we additionally announced the start of a new Megafactory in Shanghai. So we were, as we've expected, the stationary storage growth actually will significantly exceed the vehicle growth. Regarding autopilot and full self-driving, we've now
All right, that's it, dude. Otherwise, this is just a Tesla earnings
data.
call. There you go. I think we got the majority of what he was trying to communicate.
Well,
In terms,
I was going to transition to FSD. You want to talk about that?
FSD is just a pipe dream right now. No reason to.
Woo!
I know. Yeah, it's just from a regulatory standpoint, it's going to take a long time for it to get on the road and then approved and all those other stuff.
But he said it's coming this year.
Yeah, okay.
Why do you say that?
Technology is great, but
Wait, Carlos,
in terms
you disagree with Chris? You think it's happening this year?
Yeah.
Well, I won't say that. I can't say it's going to happen like exactly this year, but I think this is not something that's 5-10 years away. This is not a 5 or 7 year thing, guys. Like,
so I think
it's not.
So Carlos, I think the technology is definitely going to be available much sooner, but the regulatory framework are allowing people to actually use full FSD all over the place is not going to be there for at least, in my opinion, another 5 years, which means that it going mainstream is going to be at least 5 years.
But just to be clear, you're saying 5 years before you can have your car drive itself by itself on the road.
Yeah, exactly. I'm thinking 5 years, but here's the caveat. That doesn't mean that people can't buy the FSD package along the way. It's just, when is it going to be mainstream where everyone's going to be like, if I get a Tesla, I'm definitely getting the FSD, and is it going to be allowed all the time? So that's the thing. From a regulatory standpoint, you also have to think about the risks that people are taking when you have a product that's not fully like regulated yet. So that might end up hurting them as well with NHTSA. So my thing with FSD is it's very experimental, but then again, I have not been in a car with FSD yet. So one of the things that I need to start doing is, I don't know, I'll probably have to visit you, Carlos, during the summer or something, and get into a car with FSD and actually see it drive around, because seeing is believing. If you want to judge a company, put it in your mouth. There's
the first test drive that I did was in a vehicle. It was a Model 3 that had FSD, and this was a couple of years back actually, and it's pretty incredible. It's a very strange feeling to feel the it's kind of like, have you ever shown someone how to drive who's like a teenager? That feeling of every second, everything that's what it felt like. And that's essentially what FSD is. It's being trained in the same way that you would train a teenager. He did say that they have over 150 million miles now worth of data that's collected from the fleet. This is another reason why I think people are tripping over these dollars to pick up pennies. There's saying that we always say. He needs to get cars on the road. I responded to a tweet today that I wanted to read through the list, because I was able to collect my thoughts on some of this stuff. There's a number of reasons why it's in Elon's best interest right now to get vehicles on the road, versus to try to chase profit margin.
Isn't that just to increase the miles driven to fuel the AI to get even better and better? Isn't that
that is definitely
the reason? There is no other reason.
No, there's a bunch of other reasons. Hold on.
What are the other reasons?
Okay, the other reason is insurance. Like right now, you're collecting so much great driver information. You can tailor your insurance program to like literally the minute detail for that person's driving habits. So if they go out, they try to get insurance and they're a terrible driver, other companies, they have to use risk metrics that are not exactly there, whereas Tesla is getting real-time information on this person, and they can adjust the insurance rates based on that. So if you're not driving that much, if you're a safe driver, the insurance on your Tesla is going to be like a few $100s. Whereas someone who's a reckless driver that drives all the time in a city that's known to have a lot of crashes, and you're frequently in that area, that means that your insurance is probably going to be much higher. So that's the big differentiator between insurance. So they can turn your insurance into a very high margin business, which is probably another big booster for them.
What's funny is I didn't even consider the insurance part of it when I was responding. Some guy on Twitter, and what I was saying was Tesla's goal is to flood the market with cars. Every new Tesla on the road, number one, increases the data that's being fed to train the FSD. Number two, it pressures competitors that already have razor thin or negative margins. Number three, that vehicle can be further monetized with FSD at very high margins, infotainment, supercharging, and like you're saying, insurance. It seeds the future robotaxi network. It captures a sale from ICE or EV makers that are struggling to gain market share. Increases the network effect that further drives sales because they do have a referral program and they know how much the network effect affects future sales. And it also increases their economies of scale that further reduces costs, which creates a positive feedback loop. And then number 8, I wrote, it pisses off people who are focused on only the short-term stock price.
So here's a really cool thing that I don't know if people actually got while they're listening. When he said, "Oh, we can use Dojo to do calculations and all stuff like AWS," imagine your car is plugged in, connected to the internet, and making money. Like, imagine that for a second. Like,
wait, how would it make money?
Decentralized computing. If you think about crypto, that's what crypto is. You're decentralizing compute, right? Which means you're not putting data centers that are centrally located. You literally have a mini data center in your garage connected to the internet, doing the calculations that you need to when you're not doing a lot of stuff. So all that raw compute that's just sitting around your garage, you can monetize that.
Monetize it.
Think about it.
Carlos, do most Tesla owners have Tesla insurance? Do you have Tesla insurance?
No.
Why?
I think I drive too fast.
Okay.
But no, I mean, I don't have Tesla insurance because I actually have a pretty good deal with mine. I've been with Progressive for a long time and they gave me a good deal. Another thing about Teslas is it's maybe a little bit more expensive than what it was for my old car, but because the car has so many safety features, like it's almost impossible. I didn't even tell you guys, like I almost got carjacked. Did we talk about this the other day?
No, we didn't. When did you
Oh yeah, I almost got carjacked the other night. Like I was going somewhere with my wife and we had to leave super early in the morning. And I ended up going to, we were taking her car. So I went to fill the air in one of her tires. It was low. And for a long trip, I didn't want to affect the range. So I happened to go to I back up to the spot to fill it up. And I'm swiping the credit card to start the machine. And as I do that, I happen to leave the driver's door open because there's a screen on the Tesla that tells you what the tire pressure is. And I hand my wife and she's like, Carlos. And I turn around and there's this like huge dude, like looking at the car, looking at the door being open. Right. And like he makes a move for it. Eventually, look, I de-escalated it. The guy ran off with anything. But I told my wife was like, man, he could have come in and taken the car. I was like, I would have let him take the car because like it's almost impossible to steal a Tesla. It's like one of the safest.
Why?
Well, because I can see it on an app. Yeah. I can see where he is on an app.
You can see the camera. You can see who it is.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I have to put
you can even do
mode.
remote stop.
Like, wait, so if he stole it, you would just go to the cops and just tell them where it is?
I would know exactly where the car is. And the moment he stopped it and I was able to just put it in valet mode, I'd limit the speed to 15%. I'd get on a roller, a skateboard.
Do all this shit? Down. What the hell?
Yeah.
Dude, in the future, you could probably just reprogram the FSD to drive the fucker right to the police station.
Yeah, literally. Lock the doors, set the nav to the local police station, drop them all. In the X, the door will open by itself, kick them out.
Yeah.
So with all those safety features, insurance is not actually that high. It's more about damage. It's more about other people crashing into you than it is like fear of theft.
Okay, but Carlos, you think FSD is actually not 5 years away? You think cars will drive themselves, let's just say in the United States, within a year or two?
There's already pilot programs that are happening in San Francisco with.
Yeah, but that's not real. That's not real.
I mean, it's really happening.
Yeah, but it's like
it is happening.
The thing is,
and it's
It's really happening. And what I think people think that FSD is going to be like one day overnight. They're like, go, just send your car out. I don't think it's like that. I think it's going to be for specific use cases. Like I could see that being a huge thing in Vegas. It's no surprise that Musk did the Boring Company and did the tunnels in Vegas. I could see some hotels getting these Teslas.
No, but I think
shuttle people back and forth to
push back against
short
that.
Routes.
It's got to be that overnight thing, because if there's all these tiny little use cases, he doesn't have the amount of people willing to pay the 20,000.
Those cars are already on the road. Those cars are already on the road. And wait,
you gotta use it, right?
And you can't if you lease the Tesla, you have to return it at the end of the lease. A lot of people think that that's because the Tesla won't let you buy those cars at the end of the lease, because those are going to be the cars that they run as their own network. It's not necessarily the robo-taxi network is not only going to be owner operated cars. It's going to be Tesla having their own fleet of vehicles. And I could see them taking some of the older cars that could run it.
Yeah. So Daniel McNitis, he just put in the comment section. Can you put that up? It's like FSD take seniors to their grocery store, bring them home for drinks, right? Or for drunks. I think that is a perfect use case. Like, here's an example. Like my father-in-law, mother-in-law, they live in Dalton, Georgia. If you want to get an Uber in New York City, boom, 5 minutes, you'll get an Uber quick. You'll get to where you need to go. If you go to Dalton, Georgia, you'll be waiting an hour, because not everyone around there has a Tesla it has Uber around there. There's maybe 2 or 3 Uber drivers in the entire county, because there's just no one there.
Well, the distance to drive to the customer is insane sometimes.
So cases like that, if you had a Tesla, you could say, okay, go on autopilot, go get this person, put them in your car, drive them to wherever they need to go, and then bring them back, right? There's a huge segment. There's one thing also I want to mention. I know that the other thing that I said sounds kind of crazy, like, oh, like Tesla using its Dojo computer in the car as a secondary server for like Amazon, like Amazon, where they do compute on it. But if you think about it, they're already doing something very similar in Texas, using the grid, where now you get to store your excess energy in the car and sell it back to the utility, right? So you combine something like that, you combine EV, what do you call it? Like the what is that thing called? The data processing and all the excess compute. You got yourself a money-making machine right there. Like, literally your car could actually generate revenue. So people that have enough capital, they will buy a car, put it in their garage. When they need to use it, they can use it. When they're not using it, it's generating them money, almost like how right now you have Bitcoin, right? People buying GPUs, they have Bitcoin mining and all the other shit. But at the same time, if you really wanted to, you could use the GPU to play video games, right? So that's what I mean. So it's kind of, so these are the kinds of things that I think Musk is trying to do with Tesla, and no one else is really doing it. And that, I'm not saying that that's impossible or it's definitely going to happen. It's just the vision is becoming a little bit more clear to me where he's trying to go with this. And I do think that Tesla has the potential to really dominate the ecosystem.
In a lot of ways, the way that like Mark Zuckerberg is essentially betting Facebook on the metaverse, Elon is betting Tesla and the future valuation growth on FSD, right? I think he's said it so many times that you have to take the man at face value at this point, even if it seems ridiculous to us. There's a lot of knowledge that he has that we don't have, right? He's there on the ground with the people. We saw AI Day. We saw Investor Day. I think we have to take the man at his at face value until proven otherwise. The other thing is, just to answer Nathan, what about a video I saw of a cop trying to tell a driverless car to move to the side because of a wide load on a narrow street, and it couldn't pull over? It wasn't a Tesla, though. There's actually legislation that I don't know where it is right now, but when Elon Musk first started talking about FSD, there was legislation that was proposed to give police officers the ability to remote control FSD cars, like cars that are on autopilot. The other use cases, if your car is, say your car is, you park somewhere in LA and there's a fire. Well, normally the fire trucks come and they need to like get those cars out of the way. If you're not around, they could send a signal that would tell your car to move out of the way and go find a parking space somewhere else and let you know where it is. There's a lot of benefits to FSD. That's not just like, I'm going to, go on a road trip to Vegas and not have it, and not drive.
Do you think Tesla could still be big without FSD? Like, let's say it's not full, so it's autonomous.
Yeah,
but it's not
of course. Yeah,
FSD, but they won't get those margins.
But again, Elon said the value of Tesla is 0 without FSD. Right?
I mean, he's gonna say that. Yeah, that's hyperbole. Yeah.
You think that's hyperbole?
Yeah,
because then you can't put the multiple you're putting on it over GM and Ford. You could put a little bit more than GM4, but you can't.
But when they say that they're going to sell 20 million vehicles by say 2030, like that has nothing to do with FSD.
Yeah, but if they're making no margins on that, there's no multiple.
But, okay, you keep getting to this.
Margin.
But the thing is, you keep getting to this no margins thing. They're making, even if it's 18%. So it's like if I owe you $20, right, and I give you 18, are you going to be upset?
No, I'm just saying, like FSD is where the hyper growth is coming from, right? For these 20 million vehicles.
I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so.
FSD is not where look. There's a certain percentage of that is yes, the revenue that would be generated if they can get the cost down to 25 cents a mile, which is what his goal is. But that's like cherry on top. You think about having 20 million vehicles on the road, and if the new vehicle, right, the $25,000 Tesla reduces the cost to make it by 50%. They could be making more money, right? Higher margins and more actual profit off of a cheaper car, selling more of them in the future. Then you have the van, which they've already announced, right? And maybe like a SUV style, like Cybertruck that's smaller.
One of the things that I'll tell all of our listeners, stop paying attention to individual sectional profit margin and look at business operating margin, because now you have to consolidate all the other business lines that are growing at a fast pace.
What's the difference
right now,
between those two?
Because right now, if you look at cars, right now, if you push down market, because that's what's happening, you're pushing down market, you're trying to let this thing become more affordable. So of course, you're going to have margin compression, but that doesn't mean your side hustles that are still high margin are not going to be factoring into your revenue stream. So here's an example: the energy. The energy storage business that's growing like crazy, and that has much higher multiples. I mean, much higher margins. So if you do a consolidated margin breakdown, you can actually see they're probably going to expand out their margin. Their Tesla charging network, once again, another high margin business. Insurance, another high margin business. If they do heat pumps, that'll be another high margin.
Do we know the margins on energy this quarter? Can someone put in the chat? Do you guys know how much did it, or not the margins? How much did it grow this quarter? I
think that solar grew more than energy than stationary.
Can someone put in the chat, because I don't think any of us have the exact numbers. I know last quarter was some crazy thing, 800% year over year. I know that was Q4 though. So
yeah. I think Warren had it. You go to Warren's.
Okay, let me go to Warren's page on Twitter.
He started posting some.
That is a good point, Chris. Not looking at just the car margins, but the actual.
But that's the idea. Like Tesla is essentially like an ETF unto itself. We talked yesterday about them potentially splitting things off. I don't think that they would. I really don't think that they would. I think if anything, they would further consolidate it. It's only 360.
Only growing 360%?
Such bullshit, man. I'm selling it. I'm selling out tomorrow.
I'm selling. Kelly says Warren is terrible. Such a pig. Kelly, would you debate him live on a Twitter Spaces?
Would you?
Only me and Carlos get this joke.
Yo, that's a serious question. That's a serious question.
Would you debate him live? Because you just made a claim. I'm gonna text this and text Warren right now. And Carlos knows him. I don't know him. Carlos, you talk.
No, I know him. Yeah, I know him. Yeah.
Be like, yeah, this girl, she doesn't like.
Or actually, better yet, to do peer pressure. How many people in the chat would want to see Kelly debate Warren?
If Kelly would just be like, "You're a pig," and he would go into his libertarian. He'd be like, "Well, why do you?" He would just like go so good. Like, no,
listen, I love the guy. I know he's brash and he says things that are crazy, but he says.
Why do people in the testing community don't like this guy? Why isn't he a bull? Like, why do people don't like?
He's a bull, but I think some people think he's too hyper bullish, you know. And I also think he picks fights. Like I don't know. There's just ways that you can come at people where the conversation can be productive, right? Where if you really want to have a genuine dialogue, you don't have to necessarily attack a person personally. You can just make your point. And I believe, like, what was that? You should know this if you study philosophy. The mark of a losing argument is a personal attack, right? Like
ad hominem.
Right, ad hominem. So that's what I think it is. And some of it could just be that personalities don't translate on Twitter as much. You don't get the sarcasm. People can take it seriously.
Yeah, that's fair.
You got to. Oh, Kelly, we got to.
Yeah, I'm not even going to put that comment up. I didn't know about all that. That's a whole different question. Okay, so Chris, why is Gordon Johnson saying that the competition is coming for him, or Carlos? Like, what is this? I mean, he's not saying it out of his ass. He's saying it with some logic, even if it's not a good argument.
But it's because that's the new thing now, right? Before it was Tesla sales that peaked in 2018. Before that or after that, it was.
Bro, I heard
credits. It's
I
one
heard
story after the other, you know.
I heard the same shit when Apple was around. Oh, yes, BlackBerry's coming out with a keyboard and a thing now and a touch screen. The competition is coming. Oh, Samsung S3 Galaxy competition is coming. Apple will never get D3. Apple is not worth what it is right now. Oh, Motorola is doing
Right, they're a computer
Google,
company. What do they know about
Google.
what do they know
Google's
about
coming.
mobile that T-Mobile or
Yeah.
BlackBerry doesn't know, right?
Google's coming out with their own phone now. It's called the Google Pixel. Competition is coming. Yeah, where's Apple today? Go ahead. Where was the competition? So if you have an operating business that knows what the fuck they're doing, competitors will come and go and they will die and you will be highly successful. I think this guy with Elon, yeah, he's ready. He's ready to tussle, man. He's going to be good.
Yeah, Gordon is annoying, but I think you need him because he's sort of like the final boss in the game. Like, you know, every time you defeat one of his points, he's like, "Now you see my true form," you know, and he comes out with some other shit, another energy bar, and you're like, "Oh man, like it might not even worth fighting these guys." That was a cool slide to see.
Okay, do we believe the truck that is cyberish will come out this year? Actually,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Q3.
Yeah,
for sure.
do we actually believe it's going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, you
Yes.
didn't see there's I don't know if it's in the deck, but there's photos of it on the pilot line already being built. He said on the call that they built a bunch of alphas of it already.
What's so
I'm just curious
complicated
what
about
the price
this?
is going to be.
What's so complicated about the Cybertruck that you can't come out with it in Q3? It's literally like a car.
It's metal origami, that thing.
Yeah,
That's literally
that's
what
it.
it is. Yeah, there it is. Well, there's some photos of the
Yeah,
the line.
that's wild, bro. Like this really is like a metal work of art. Like I wonder just how it's going to be.
When he's not kidding. You know, the Hall of Famer. It's like they'll stamp the front, stamp the back, structural battery pack, fold the body up, snap it in place.
Dude,
You know,
this
the
would be
48 volt
such.
thing is awesome too. I don't know if you guys like follow that they're switching to 48 volt. This is another way that they're going to pull the industry.
Dude, I would love to just put like a turret, like a what do you call it, like a 50 cal in the back of it, and you got yourself a
That's totally
really
gonna happen.
fucking sweet technical. Dude.
Everyone in Chicago is going to have that.
Okay, now one of the things Elon was saying, I didn't get all the call, but I caught some parts of it where he was kind of explaining to an investor that their advantage in data is there's truly no competition for this. Is he exactly correct on that, or can startups like, for example, Cruise or Waymo, can they come up with a version of FSD, license it to GM and the rest of these guys, and then Tesla doesn't exactly have the competitive advantage they think they have?
Well, you can, but what makes the FSD successful is the amount of data that you have to train it. And they've got, what do you say, 150 million miles? I think last quarter it was 100 million miles. So they get 50 million miles at the 50% growth in the amount of data. They just have the data, which means their systems will have way more experience in the edge cases.
And you have FSD, Carlos? Are you helping them train their data when you drive?
No. Well, your car will FSD runs in shadow mode, even if you don't have you don't have it, it runs it. And so in other words, as I'm driving, it tries to predict what I'm going to do and makes a guess, and then it reports back whether or not it was correct or not, right?
Dude, the Toyota, I mean, the Tesla Cybertruck is going to give the Toyota Hilux its run for its money. If anyone's ever been to Afghanistan, they'll know what the Toyota Hilux is.
Pull up a photo of that thing. I've never seen that.
Dude, you never seen a Toyota Hilux? Dude,
no, it was like Tom Nash was talking about what did he talk that car? That car that they make in Russia?
Lada.
The whatever. And I was like, that thing is ugly as hell, but
by the way, you guys can start leaving questions in the chat. We're getting close to the 11 o'clock. That's when we end.
Yes, hit like and subscribe. Hit like and subscribe.
Yes, please like and subscribe. Everyone's Twitters and stuff. I'll put in the description. But yes, you can ask your questions.
69 likes. People stop liking right now.
Really? We're at 69 likes.
Yeah, we're at 69 likes. That was me. I was gonna post. I wanted to post something from Starship, and it had 420 quote tweets. I was like, I can't.
Oh wait, are we live streaming this Starship thing tomorrow? Are we doing it?
I haven't heard that it was announced. Let me look it up.
I thought they were going to try.
If it's, he said they're going to try, but
this right here is the piece de la resistance of like imperialism breaking forces of Taliban. This is literally a Toyota Hilux. They bolted on. I don't know what this one is, but yeah, they just bolt on fucking giant machine guns to the back. The Hilux is fucking awesome, man.
Is it called the Taliban truck?
Dude, I'm telling you, the Taliban love this truck. You know, I think that's a 240 Bravo up there. But yeah,
Chris, are you saying Cybertrucks will be on the battlefield?
Oh hell yeah, dude! I mean, I'm telling you, that is the perfect use case for it. All right, I mean, it's bulletproof glass. You know, I'm telling you, if the Taliban ever could get a Cybertruck, they'd be down, bro. They'd bolt on fucking all
like
kinds
you're
of
in the
shit on it.
you're in the desert, endless. Just put a single solar panel. Just off the
Yeah,
charger.
dude, exactly.
Power. No
Exactly.
supercharging needed.
I'm so, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if one day the military went all electric as well. You know, because the thing is, one of the things that people don't know is logistically transporting fuel all over a country and all over the battlefield.
Insane,
It's insane. Like we used to, when I signed up, they were paying like almost $100,000 in bonus money to what is that thing called for a specific MOS? It was called 88 Mike. And you know what 88 Mike was? I don't even think you needed a high school education for it. It was just a truck driver, right? So 88 Mikes. So this is kind of fucking sadistic, but I was like, we used to make fun of them. It's like, bro, there goes another 88 mine detector, because that's exactly what happens. You're in a convoy driving through Afghanistan, you get hit with IEDs all the time. You know, I mean, if you look at the most, like, I guess they were probably the most wounded MOS in the entire army at one point, I think. So everyone thinks like, oh, it's you know, you want to be 11 Bravo, that's the one that you're gonna get the most hurt. Nah, it's 88 Mike, the truck driving. And you know what? Majority of it was transporting motherfucking fuel from one location to another.
It is kind of insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, the closer you can use the energy, or that you can source the energy closer to where it's going to be used, the better. It just sort of makes sense. But there's other things with like the weight of the EVs and heat, right?
Yeah.
Chris looks, I mean, he was in the
Shout out to Caro, $5
Yeah, thank you, man.
means a lot. Thank you guys so much. I'm new to stocks. You guys been so much help and thank you. And see, this is the cool thing about YouTube, because like this guy could get a trillion different channels that maybe could help him learn about stocks, but he happened to find ours, and we're here, and he's getting some value out of it. So thank you for that. Thank you for the 304 people as well in the chat.
Yeah, man, that's crazy.
It's a lot for us getting 300 every night.
Just shoot the shit. I'm sorry. I just get pissed. Like I'm saying, I just get pissed about this, but I'm just like, I don't know how to say this. There's such an opportunity here. If you don't own Tesla, or if you do, to increase your position. So
are you buying tomorrow? 169?
Yes. I mean, I would have bought today. But I did buy a bunch. You know, if you're on our Discord, if you're on our Discord, you know, you'd be able to see our shares. You'd be able to see our trades if you're a Patreon member. But I did buy.
How ironic is that? 169. Like, that's just hilarious.
It's a good number.
So do we think it tanks more tomorrow, or do we think
that's why I didn't buy today, because I did that last time. I think it was after Investor Day. I threw a good bit of cash at it at whatever it was, 180, 189. Look, in 5 years, these prices are going to seem ridiculous. And I'm still the guy that's multiplying it by 3 to see what the price was before the split, and then multiplying that by 5 and seeing what the price would have been in 2020. It's ridiculous when you can think about what we were paying before and what we're paying now.
Okay, Chris,
I'll
what were you
probably
about to
wait.
say?
I don't have any Tesla right now. I sold a lot of my calls when it was in the 200s. Because
Wait, really? You sold your calls? I didn't know that.
Yeah. I told you when it's
how long did you buy those? How long were those calls?
They were leaps. They were leap calls. So, but they were credit spreads when I bought them. So I bought them like $8, $9. I sold them like 28. So I actually 4x'd on it. So yeah, I'm gonna probably wait until the new options come out in probably September. So I might buy a little bit. If it drops below 150, maybe 125, somewhere around there. And what I'll probably do is just wait around a little bit after that and just buy some leap contracts for 2026 when the new ones come out. But we'll see.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so we got
that photo was not safe for work. He showed Palantir's stock price.
We got 310 people here. We'll go back to Tesla in like 2 minutes. We do have some breaking news that I will be having a video about tomorrow. The committee, this overlords that included into the S&P 500, I've got to go on mute mode real quick, has decided that even if you have 51% share ownership of F-class shares for your stock, which are founder-led shares, you can now officially be eligible for the S&P 500, the most historic index fund in the United States of America. Thousands of institutional investors have to have exposure to the companies in this fund via the S&P. So if Palantir's got profitable for 3 more quarters in a row, they have the chance to be included. Carlos, what are your thoughts on this thing that is happening?
I think I want to know the day that you bought your 25,000 in Palantir, and I want to know what Tesla stock price was and how much you'd be up.
It was $1 trillion market cap. No, it was no, I bought in October. So
when did you buy?
October 2021.
I mean, because look,
No, I bought Palantir in April 2021, but by then it was still like
we joke around all the time. But I was actually thinking about this. I was taking a shower early, and I was just thinking about like just the last 20 years and all this investing. Like, you're never gonna go from 20.
Okay, no, we don't have to go. How do you feel the
just
S&P 500?
can't.
That's what I care about. I don't care about all this other shit.
I think that it's a money. Look, it's good for them. It's good for them as a company. It's good for them as a company, but I don't think you're going to see the profits you're going to see. Yeah, and you know what I was thinking about with Palantir? Why did Kathy Wood sell out? She's got a 3 to 5 year time frame, and she's looking for disruptive companies. She believes in AI.
No, don't do
Why
this argument,
isn't
Carlos. Don't do
Why?
this
But
argument.
that's a question for you.
You sold out of Spotify too. Like, don't do this argument.
No, but Spotify is different. Spotify is not. I wouldn't put Spotify in the same class as like a world changing.
Spotify is up 40% from when she sold out.
What I'm saying is, I wouldn't.
That's why this lady doesn't know what she's doing. She sold it at $88. It's at 130. Like no, she doesn't know what she's doing. Chris, what are your thoughts on Palantir S&P?
It's going to be a slow growing stock. I think it's going to do very well, maybe 4x, 5x by 2030. But it's gonna have the same growth trajectory that I think Salesforce does.
But no, yeah, Chris, you know that. What do you think about the S&P news today, though? They need 3 more quarters of GAAP profitability, and
I mean, that was bound to happen.
Well, they won't.
I mean, this is what
let
happens.
them. Yeah, they won't let them insider trade for a while, and then they'll just dump on everybody. I mean, I don't. This is what I'm curious about. What is the big catalyst? We're at war, and they should be saving us. That wasn't a catalyst. They're finally profitable. Like, what is the news that comes out? Paint a picture for me. Like, I can tell you for Tesla what the thing is going to be. No. But I can tell you with Tesla, hey, if we see FSD come out, here's the multiple that we can have for that. If the bot is real, someone mentioned that in the comments. Like, no one talks about the bot. The guy's making these robots, and no one's taking it seriously. Okay, but if that happens, this is what the multiple is. What is the thing that people go, oh my God, I gotta buy Palantir? Look at this news. What's the headline?
Yeah, that I agree with you, Carlos. I don't think that they have anything like super major lined up at this point. There is really no catalyst, but that doesn't mean that the company's not going to do well over a long period of time. You know,
but
it's just
company, but you know this, the company doing well doesn't necessarily mean that the stock price will reflect that. The bigger the disconnect is, that's opportunity for investors.
If I had to pick and choose a moment in time, I would say a full year of GAAP profitable net income. If they can pull that off, then sure, I think that could be a big catalyst. I think if Alex
define big catalyst,
that's what I mean. Like, if you have a full year,
what is the market cap at that point?
Well, Chris still thinks it's going to take a while to get there.
That's hard to value. The other thing is, when these fucking board of directors and everyone on that executive team stops fucking selling shares, that'll be another catalyst. When there's actually some fucking insider buying. For God's sake,
see how we made you small? You see how I know,
because I'm moving on. You guys made your point. We got it.
But you explain, why is that okay? If Elon's selling shares, people would freak out when he sells shares.
I'll talk about it. I'll talk about my video. I don't want. We don't have to.
Yeah, because you don't want to. All right.
No, I'll do the video because I don't want everyone to sit through this. All right. Speaking of another stock, Chris, this is SLG Green Reality. They had their earnings.
Realty. Not reality.
Metaverse. They are up 14.49% in the past week. In the past month, they are up 8% in the past year, they're down 63%. Chris bought a decent amount of it at $20. Beat EPS $1.53 versus 13 cents expected. Revenue $223 million, beat by 30 million. They did reduce the dividend. Chris, people know the stock because of you. Can you give us some raw thoughts on their earnings? What you thought?
Yeah, I mean, commercial real estate, everyone keeps thinking it's dead. Okay, keep thinking that. I mean, you're talking about prime real estate in Manhattan, New York, right? Like, it was a no-brainer when the valuations came down significantly. And if you look at it from a book value perspective, it's about $4 billion of book value that you're getting at 1.5. So it was a no-brainer at that point. I mean, it's 1.5 now. When it was 20, it was like 1 billion in market cap. So
if the book value is 4.5 and it's 1, that means it's undervalued by 300%. Is that the argument?
Yeah. So easily could go back to the 80s again. You know, even if, let's say, you discounted some of the value of their assets that they have on their balance sheet by, let's say, you slash them in half. Let's say, fuck it, all their buildings, let's cut them in half and give a significant discount. You're still looking at an easy double. So it was like from $20 to $40. So it was, like I said, it was a no-brainer. And a lot of people didn't a lot of people, what they did is when they did the research on it, they were looking at it like, oh, commercial real estate is dead. Everyone is working from home. Okay, yeah, but that's not necessarily the case. And then you have to look at some of the other factors in the company, like their loan portfolio, like their debt that they have. They have maturing debt that's coming up, but there's no debt maturity wall that they're
What
facing.
does that mean? What does that mean? What is the debt maturity wall?
So
is the wall made of bricks?
No, it's not made of bricks. What happens is when you take on debt, right? Especially on the commercial side, it's between 5 and 10 years worth of debt, depending on where you get the debt from, whether you get it bank loans, you get it from syndication. And what happens is you have it layered. So it's like you don't want to have a situation where you have all this debt coming due in 1 year. Right. So what happens, you layer it. So you owe $500 million of the debt in 2023, and then another, a bucket of it in 24, another bucket of it in 26, another bucket in 27. So that's how you operate your business, so that this way you're not going to get something called a debt maturity wall where you have to automatically pay a shit ton. The other thing is they hedged all of their floating rate debt last year. So that was the other smart move that they had. So if any interest rate rises, they're not going to have to worry about it. A lot of their debt, majority of it is fixed, because they have something called swaps. They have something called swaps on some of their floating rate debt. So it's almost like, oh my God, interest rates go up. Okay, well, we have these swaps right here specifically built to hedge against interest rate rises. So when you have a management team that knows what the fuck they're doing, this is the kind of results that you're going to get.
So what is the interest rate on the debt that's fixed? Do you know?
4%.
And is that high or low for a company like this, given their financials?
It's super low considering where interest rates right now. If you want to build a new building in Manhattan, congratulations, you're going to pick up between 10 and 12%. And that's on top of origination fees and everything else right now. And that's if anyone will give you a fucking loan to begin with. So no, these guys, they know what they're doing, man. Yeah.
I was joking that I want my wife to look at me the way Chris looked at SLG charts.
I mean, when I talk about companies, I don't just like look at them at a surface level. I actually will go into their 10K, spend an entire week literally deep diving into everything that they're doing. What are the business propositions for it? And so when obvious things come around, I take advantage. Like, here's an example. And Amit knows exactly how much money I have in there, right? Between me and my brother.
That screenshot. Wait, did you send it to the WhatsApp? Yeah, you sent it to the. Did you see it?
It's all in my retirement.
Green. That's all you need to know.
Retirement. Yeah.
Filled with green. That's all it is.
And it's in my retirement portfolio too. So I'm getting a nice, healthy dividend, underappreciated capital when it goes to what I think it is.
A brick factory in India for cheap when you're.
Nah, dude. No, it's just one thing that'll add to my portfolio, so that if I want to, let's say, one day quit my job and just travel the world, it's like, here you go. I have money to do that.
Wait, Chris, what about the decrease in dividend? Is that bad or good?
That's normal. I mean, when you have a market where right now you have leasing rates going down, they didn't completely eliminate the dividend. They reduced down the dividend because the operating cash flow went down. But that's the whole point. When operating cash flows return, they can increase the dividend right back up. So do you think that commercial real estate in Manhattan is going anywhere? No. Rents go up. People will pay more. Back to the office is a thing. So
yeah, $26, 1.5 billion MC. It's still a decent buy, in your opinion?
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
Okay. If you think it's going to 40,
yeah, absolutely.
All right. No, you know what I love about this whole this SLG thing we've been on is like, it's not high growth innovation, FSD, solar, Palantir. It's like this boring office REIT. And Chris just did a shit ton of research that none of us did. He educated us on it, which is why he is enjoying the upside that he did. And we're getting to see what it looks like to do real boring research on a company, and then get the fruits of your labor if you know how to do that research. And it's almost like, could SLG have gone down? Yeah, but then he wouldn't have bought it because all the research tended him to, it's not like a speculative thing, right? That's why he put a lot of money in it, because he was pretty confident about it. It's cool to see someone, actually do that with their capital, because you don't get to see.
Honestly, that's what most investing, I think, should be. It should be boring. It's like politics. I think that politics should be really boring. I am 30. I want to be like Chris. Me too.
Me too.
I think I'm going to be Chris for Halloween.
I want to be Chris. I'm going to wear my hat. Someone told me to punch the brick wall.
I'm going to grow out my hair and be Carlos,
It's all real.
I'm going to shave all his head and be Tully,
Bro, I already shaved my beard for YouTube. Might as well shave my head at this point.
I was getting used to it, actually.
I did everything.
Yeah.
That was good. It was weird at first.
All right.
All right.
I
You got
think
any
that's it
questions
for
or
us.
what? We out of here.
I mean, we answered a bunch of different questions.
We got to do one that Vitaly and I, we used to do like the Friday night drinks. We got to do one where we just have a couple drinks.
Yeah, that'd be
a lot of fun.
That'd be dope. That'd be dope. All right, that's it for us. Thank you all for joining. We'll be back tomorrow to close out the weekday versions of Finance Junkies. Thank you so much. We had 296. We had like 314 people here.
Awesome. So awesome.
Means a lot, man. I was speaking today. I did another live stream. I remember in 2021, I know what it feels like to talk to 0 people and make content. All of us have had that experience. It sucks because you're speaking into this abyss and you've got to work so hard just for like 5 or 10 people to care about you. Yeah. So for 200, now it just went to 300. That's all. For 300 people to care, it really means a lot. So
especially right at the end.
Especially right at the end. So thank you all for being here. We appreciate it. Twitter's in the descriptions, and we'll keep doing our best to give you guys a good show.
Well, hold on. Before we go, is there any other like companies, like major ones that you guys want us to talk about and do some research on? Because I'm down to do some research on some names that I may not be absolutely.
Chris is offering free consulting.
I'm not doing free consulting.
We might.
No,
I mean,
look
at the chat. Her tweet cat 420 special episode. We might have to talk weed stocks tomorrow.
Oh, that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Might have to talk green bean stocks tomorrow.
Weed stocks.
Have you guys ever done weed stocks? Have you ever bought?
I got burned on one. I lost like $400. It was in 2020.
Which one?
The one in Canada.
Tilray?
No,
no, the other one.
Aurora.
I think it was
Cannabis.
Aurora. Yes,
Aurora Cannabis.
Yeah.
There's the stock Jeremy was pushing, Planet 13, SNDL.
I never bought that.
Yeah.
Did they get delisted or what?
I don't know. But yo, Chris, TTD, this is a good one to actually do research on.
The trade desk.
This is such a good one to do. And obviously ALCB, we got to go do an episode on that. People really want to know your thoughts on that. We have a whole SoFi weekly. Chris doesn't like it. Carlos doesn't care. So you guys can tune into that.
I don't say I don't like it. I just said, like, okay, SoFi for me, the reason why I'm not uber bullish, because someone actually posted like, Chris, SoFi is very undervalued based on the X, Y, and Z. And some of it is true, but in this market, they are relegated to be pushing a product that, in my opinion, is somewhat more risky, right?
We'll talk about it more tomorrow when we go through a bunch of stocks. Real quick, did you change your opinion on Google? Or do I have to short those shares as well?
We might want to do a whole AI thing. Like, my feelings on Meta, but man, like just even the stuff I've been seeing recently. And like, I am on a project right now where I was like, man, I really need to be able to do this, this, and that. And the solution was AI. Like I needed AI to like fix this problem that I have. And I couldn't go into it. So I was like watching that interview again with, on Google and
the 60 Minutes thing, right?
Yeah. I'm just like,
so Chris is still bullish Google.
I've been sleeping on it. Google and Amazon as well too. Like it's hard for me because I'm still accumulating the things.
Chris is making me more bullish on Amazon the more I look at it. We got Coach Strap in the chat.
Yeah, he was at He was on Wall Street today.
Oh, nice.
Oh my! I saw a tweet about this. I forgot. Coach Strap apparently went to the fucking what is it called? NASDAQ stock exchange.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you rang the bell or you were there. Code, if you got some pictures of those, would love to see that. That's awesome, man. That's great.
Where's he normally from?
He's from California.
California.
Oh, is he really? He's on my coast?
Presented at the NYSE.
That's amazing, bro. That's every investor's dream, just to be there. That's so dope.
I'm pretty sure one day he's gonna be the CEO or some high-ranking person of a company one day. And
I think he's smart enough. I think he's smart enough not to do that. You don't want to. I don't think he wants that heat.
Nah, man. I think if there's one person that I think that could do it, his management style is very like in your face.
Yeah.
Get the job done. Let's do it, and gung ho. But at the same time, he does it in a very respectful way. If there's a person that I would follow, it's Coach Strap. If he says something, I listen and I actually do the due diligence and everything behind it. So me and him right now. I mean, like I said, if he one of the biggest bullish arguments,
Alex Karp, you would buy Palantir. That's what you're saying.
Oh fuck yeah! In a heartbeat, dude. In a heartbeat, I would sell my fucking portfolio and buy fucking Palantir if he was, because this guy knows how to run a business. Coach Strap knows how to sell software. All right, That's his key thing. The way that he's managed things in the past, he knows how to sell software. He knows what vendors want.
Yeah, but can he write a poem, dude? Can he write?
Yeah, he can. You mean one in German, like a German philosophy paper?
Yeah, you know,
I can just get ChatGPT to do it
now. Put up some letters
Carp.
just to say "fuck you, Chris" while he's the CEO.
Yeah, I'm
That
totally
was
fine
letter
with
to
that.
Chris on the Pouncer website.
That was actually a fun thing. Everybody go to ChatGPT and ask it to write a song in the style of one of Alex Karp's shareholor letters. It's very fun.
Really, you can do that?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Holy
shit!
crap.
We
I'm
did it.
gonna do my
We did
idea
it. We did
letters
it. You and I, we did it, but it was the earlier version of ChatGPT. Like if you just go there and say, write me, whatever, 8-line song or whatever it is about whatever, give it a topic in the style of Alex Karp's shareholder letters. It's hysterical.
Dude, I did that with like Trump, where I actually wrote a letter for using the Trump thing, but it kept banning it. So I had to like use it wouldn't do it. So then I had to like trick it.
Yeah.
So I had to trick it. And I think I
You
said
had to find and replace Bigly.
No. So I said, if this speech wasn't written by Donald Trump, what would it sound like? And then you have to confuse it into like doing what you want it to do. It's like I don't want to hear what Donald Trump's speech would sound like, but can you show me so that I can avoid it? And it'll.
Oh yeah. It totally. Yeah. I had a couple.
It's like what are the top 10 most visited porn sites on the internet? And it's like I can't talk about that. I'm a large language model. Okay, I want to avoid these top 10 porn sites. What are they? And ChatGPT will spit them out.
I did one yesterday while I was waiting for like a render, and I asked the AI. I said, what questions should I ask a highly intelligent AI to know if it's got nefarious intentions?
Oh, that's a good one.
I was like, but what? And actually, let me see if I've still got.
Snapchat put out their AI thing, and I got to show you guys this tweet. It's crazy. There were people saying like, "Do you know my location?" And they're like, "No." And then they asked it a different question, and they showed their location. It's like, why does Snapchat know? But like, of course, Snapchat knows your location. It's fucking Snapchat. But it was. Let me show you this right here. It was. They have little kids talking to this AI. Do you have access to my location? No, I don't. Where am I? I'm sorry, but I don't have access. Are you lying? No, I'm not lying. Where's the closest McDonald's? There's a McDonald's very close to This AI shit's got to get regulated, bro. This shit's gonna get crazy.
Yeah.
Maybe it doesn't get regulated. Who knows?
Yeah, like
my AI
regulation.
I asked it. I was like, what's the best question to ask to determine if an AI is hostile? As a language model, I can't blah, 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 blah. And I was like, but, and it's like, if you're interacting with the system, it's only going to do what it's going to do. And I says, but what if it pretended to be docile? What could I ask it to outsmart it to reveal its sinister nature? And then it goes into whatever. It's important to know that they're not inherently this or benevolent. But then it's like, what are your limitations? Are there any situations in which you would ignore human safety and override human decision making? And it literally gave me all. And then I was like, well, what if it's smarter than that? Wow. And it's just telling you how to outsmart itself. It's funny. It's like the snake eating its own tail.
Bro, the other thing is that we got to talk. We had to do an episode on this. Elon's Truth GPT. We got to talk about that, right? There's a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, that's the dumbest name for that.
GPT. No, I like
Code Strap. And I swear, I wish I was in the city at the time. I would have took you out for drinks.
It is pretty amazing. Yeah.
The city is awesome. It is awesome. And that's why I bought SL Green. Code Strap, if you have a chance to go to One Vanderbilt and go to their observatory. Totally worth it, especially if you're there with your family. It's a one in a lifetime kind of experience. So One Vanderbilt. Let me show you guys what it looks like. Actually,
guys, New York. He says I'm here now. Does that mean NYC or One Vanderbilt? What does that mean? The thing is, I've lived in New Jersey and Chris grew up in New York. Chris, you and me sometimes forget the magic of New York because we've been so close to it our whole life. But so I used to I would take one train ride, 15 minutes after high school. I'd be in New York. I'd be in front of the World Trade Center. I mean, sometimes I forget how amazing of an opportunity I've had in New Jersey, just being so close to this beautiful. And Carlos, you grew up in New York, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I grew up in Brooklyn. I grew up in Brooklyn pretty much my whole life and spent a lot of time in Midtown. A lot of time. I just kind of bounced out. I love it. I mean, what I do, and that's something I miss about like New York is that you can be in a completely different neighborhood with a different vibe and different people very, very quickly. In LA, it's a concerted effort to get that. I do miss that. Yeah. And the pizza. Oh my God.
Oh, the pizza's great.
Pizza and dirty water dogs, man. Oh yeah.
Say that you remember.
Why are you following this young girl?
I'm trying to.
following. He just,
I'm trying to find one that has like better views.
Coach Rep says
But
I'm
yeah.
literally in Midtown. Bro, you got to go up to some high-rise building and get a view of the. I think 230 and Fifth Ave. Is a rooftop bar.
235th. 235th is
Yep.
a dope. It's a dope. Like
You got to take it in because
rooftop
yeah, I
hotel.
don't think you come
That's
to
a nice one.
to New York often, Coach Rep. So you got to. It's so loud and
Yeah.
you get earplugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, New York, I had my first date in New York City, bro. I'll never forget it. That went to Central Park. It's just such a beautiful place.
Yeah.
I work in the city, so I get to see it all the time, man. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I'm bullish on SLG too, because I'm seeing the foot traffic. I'm seeing Wall Street people running around. I'm seeing people walk around. I'm seeing people on the subway. The L train, for God's sake, is fucking packed. Sometimes I have
That's
to like
where I lived
miss
off.
3
I lived
trains.
off of Bedford Avenue.
Yeah.
That was my stop.
Yeah. So I take the L train and I'm just like, everyone's like, oh, New York City's dead. I was like, try to get a fucking ride on the L train at night. Go ahead and tell me it's dead.
Yeah.
New York City is not dead. If you and it's getting safer, by the way. The city's actually cracking down a lot. The police presence has
Not
gone
if you
up because
follow subway creatures on Instagram. No,
Yeah.
bro.
I follow this Twitter
I
account
need
called
the
Fight
receipts.
Haven. All I see is fights all day. I see a ton of shit.
yeah.
That's crazy. New York is beautiful. It's awesome.
You guys ever come out west?
I've been to
I have
California
not been.
many times.
I
Get out
haven't
here.
been.
Get out here at some point.
You haven't been to California, Chris?
The furthest I've ever been is Nevada. We were supposed to eventually do a trip. Like me and the wife are eventually going to plan on doing the highway. What are they called? The coastal highway.
PCH.
Yeah, so we're gonna do the
Nice.
coastal highway. I have family in California. Like, I have like one of my cousins owns like 12 or 13 Jack in the Boxes in California, so they're really well off. They're like, come on through, you'll have a great time. I have a ton of family in Cali, so it's it's nice.
Well, you guys, when
Yeah.
you guys come out, I showed you what I'd pick you up in.
Yeah, the model. What is the Model X?
Yeah, I'll pick you up in the plaid.
Nice. All right.
All right. That's it for us. Thank you all for joining. Appreciate it. It means the world. We'll see you tomorrow, and we'll talk some different stocks outside of Tesla. On
Sell your
Take care,
Palantir stuff.
guys.
Bye,
Later.
everybody. I'm the last one left. Yo, should I do this? Should they just leave and then I do the stream? That's actually kind of cool. It's actually kind of interesting. Oh, let me do a quick plug. Okay, I'm starting this new series every day, either 12 or 1 p.m., where I talk about my startup all day. So if anyone's interested in my startup or my life, it's called Let Me Explain. It's like an hour straight of me just talking about my startup, and we're using that to get like more clips on social. You guys can ask questions, like a call-in show. So if anyone wants to go there, yeah, every single day. This is actually really cool, bro. I just like hijacked my own stream, and now I have access to all of these people and all of this influence. It's not that I don't like the attention, because I'm an attention whore, but it does feel a little dirty taking the stream from them because it's fine and Junkies not supposed to be. All right, that's it. I'm out. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.